Hey guys, just we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Let everybody come and then we can start. Kinjal, you ready with presentation?
Yeah.
So let's get started. So guys, today I have Kinjal. So Kinjal was one of our former bootcamp students, and she is working for Capital One. And she got a job, and her specialization, she's been working quite extensively on web accessibility. So that's why I got her to do this session. The reason being, so in this class there are two students. One is for front end development, and then there's quality assurance. For front end, for both front end and quality assurance, accessibility is very. So in quality assurance, you need to test for accessibility, web accessibility. And in front end also, they'll be asking you, what are you going to do for web accessibility? So there's both of them are very important. So that's why I thought I'll combine this class, and like let Kinjal basically tell us more about web accessibility. Okay. So let's Kinjal, it's all yours. You tell, and let's start from the bottom. What is from web accessibility? Assuming that nobody knows what even accessibility is. Like start from zero. I okay.
Yes, sure,
Okay.
question.
And share your screen.
So, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So, regarding the web accessibility, so I'm working as a like a front end developer at a Capital One, where in my daily process I have to check different web pages or the app or the different design review regarding digital accessibility. So, what do you mean by accessibility or digital accessibility? It is nothing but allow everyone to access your uh, like screen or access everything which you have, like different apps which you have created, web pages you have created, different forms, so that they also feel equal, like equal access to like online education, healthcare websites, or shopping websites, different kind of social media, so even they feel equal. Okay, it doesn't mean if they can't see, they can't have access to the like the website, or if they can't use like mouse, they can't use those websites. So in general there are four principles of accessibility, which is operable, perceivable, understandable, and robust, as you can see. And I can explain what each one of means. So perceivable means like whatever information you have put in, the user can interfere with it. Like it should be accessible to that website. Like if I'm using this, like if I'm using the Viniscope, but if I would blind, but still I should know what is there in the menu navigation bar, or what is there on the whole total page. Operable means user interface components and navigation must like operable. It can be used by any form of means, like it should be like in generally interferable. Like I can use only keyboard, I can use screen reader, but I should be able to know, okay, this all information are there on the screen on the website, and I'm getting all the information which even you can see and like understandable. So whatever information is there, it should be like properly conveyed to them, and information as well as operation of the user interface, like this is a button, they should know this is a button, or this is the link, they should know this is the link. And robust content must be robust enough that it can be interpreted reliably by variety of user agent, including like different kind of technologies. So these are the four principles. This is just general info they might ask you in the interview or not, but yeah, you should know them and you can little bit explain them. So how do I test the website? So there are two ways which I test. One is a manual and one is a automatic testing. In automatic testing, there are different tools which you can use, like Waze or anything like different tools. Like in our company, we have Broad Evines tool, which is a paid app. So, but you can use even different form of tools like, sorry for this, or different extension also. Sorry. So I have like little bit of extension as I can show you over here, like ARC toolkit or XDevelop toolkits. You can use this different kinds of toolkit also. Uh, and other than that, if you also inspect, you have accessibility in build given by Google. So you can use this. It's literally like a general T tree which say, okay, this is the heading, this is the link and all. But this is very rare if company uses. It depends company to company. So for me, we sometimes use this also XDev tools, or I can show you like, we'll show this like in different, like after I explain all of this. Uh, and manual testing. In manual testing, what is manual testing? Manual testing is like if we see, is there any color contrast difference? Like you can use different app to see, okay, this color is going with the background. There are minimum ratio that you have to maintain. For text, it is 4.5 is to 1. So this, so black and white, this is the best combination because it will pass our criteria. And there are different criteria which should be passed, like this is a link, this is on yellow, so it should pass that criteria, and I feel it will pass that criteria. So this is a Capital One website I can show you. So this is a decorative image. We see that it is not exposed to screen reader user because it is not conveying any information. So it's just a decoration part which we use so that our website look good. So as you can see, this is a alt value which is equal to 0 or null. So there are different criteria which we have to check so that it is passing, and there are very low on minimum amount of you can see like issues in over here. And as I was saying, yeah, this is a color contrast. You can see this is a color contrast extension which you can like just use it, capture the page. It will just capture and it will create the report and it will show you. In my office, we use color contrast analyzer, the different tool in which we have to just select the this color and white background color, and it will show if it is passing or not, or you can just see the color ratio and see if it is passing or not. And yeah, this is a wave evaluation tool, which is also very important. Like in my interview, I have told that I have used this tool. So in this tool, as you can see, it will go through all the website and it will find out what's the issue or what's not the issue. As you can see, there are 0 error. There is one contrast error. Sorry. So it's just you can rescan, and this is the WCG, the color contrast which I was saying you guys. It will just sorry, I'm going too fast. You can say me.
Kinjal, can you slow down? You're going too fast. Let's take one at a time. So let's make everybody understand. So first, let's take color contrast. So when we say
So
yeah,
this, as you can see, this is a color contrast stuff. So this is a wave. This is an inbuilt extension. You can just Google it and add it into your Google Chrome. So
okay.
when you come to any website like this website, I will just use this and I will just click on my extension.
Kinjal, 1 second. Let's do it together. So everyone, go to your Chrome, add extension. So here's what I want you guys to do. Just let me share for a second.
Sure.
Okay, so let's do it together. So to understand accessibility, is better to do it together. Okay. So first thing I want you guys to do is search for Chrome Web Store. So go to Chrome Web Store. So Chrome Web Store, you can install any extension you want, and there is extensions for everything. You can imagine it. There are extensions. So we'll install 3 extensions that Kinjal mentioned. So let me know if you guys are here. Go back, go to your computer, go to Chrome Web Store. Okay, and then you can, after the class, you can remove it after playing. You can remove this right now. You can go ahead and install it. Okay, the first one, Kinjal, you said mentioned is X, right? So X. So X is one. It's called Web Accessibility Testing. So go ahead and install. So I have already added it. You guys can add this. So go ahead and add this X. Give me yes, no. Let me know once you're done. Yes, no.
Next done.
Done. All right. So, and if you please stop me, don't feel like rushed. Okay, if you are not getting it, just stop me. This is important topic. You must master it. So, so X. The second is wave. Is there an extension of wave? Can you just okay? Wave evaluation tool.
Yeah, this is the first one.
First one. So go ahead and add that one also to add to the Chrome.
I think wave will be the enough, because in wave also you have different kind of extension like color contrast and everything.
Okay. So basically, the wave is like a full on tool. So you don't need anything else because wave covers
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
So okay, so let's start with wave and let's start with color contrast. Like take it a little slow, okay? And
Sure.
we'll let us also play around with it, so we'll also understand it.
Yeah, just a quick question.
Yeah.
After adding this wave, it is asking for synchronize. So should we synchronize to Chrome or should not? After clicking on yes, it is asking email address. Should we do that or should we click on no for sync?
So like you can synchronize if you want, or it's just that if you synchronize it will give you the report and everything, and you can work without synchronizing. Like I have not yet synchronized mine.
Okay.
So even I think Sachin have
Okay,
not
no problem.
synchronized, but
I'll
he
click.
can see the errors.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
All right. So yeah. So I have okay. So now you, Kinjal, I think hopefully we all have Wave installed. So make sure it's pinned here and go to any website and just click on Wave. It should give you kind of this setting, and then Kinjal, you can take over.
Sure.
So take it a little slow because it's too fast for even for me. It's too fast. So take it a little slow.
I will just share my screen.
Yeah.
So this was my Capital One website. So in this, there are different kind of tools like summary, details, reference, structure, and contrast. Structure is the page structure, like this is a heading, or if heading, then subheadings, all that kind. As you can see, H1, H2, H2, H2 also have H5, H4. Like these are the structure, how the page look like. So if you go in details, you can see what errors are there. Like there is one with this very low contrast, and if you click over there and go, you can see on the page also where you will be able to see, oh, what's the low contrast.
So what is a contrast? What is a low con? How does it affect accessibility?
So low contrast is a person who are little with less vision, yeah, low vision people. So they will not able to see the difference.
Okay.
So they will not be able to see if it is low. Wait, I can show over here in on Minisco. You guys can open Minisco. Just go and click wave evaluation. Then
In
you will
Minisco,
come.
there will be a lot of bugs. So you will get a lot of.
Yeah,
if
but it will be like little easy to explain. So
oh my God.
was not able to find any other websites. Nothing as such.
Okay.
Like I have this Capital One website. As you can see, there is one low contrast means that if I am little like my vision is very high, or I am like the old people whose vision are not so correct. So this means like it is not matching. If I see from far, I will not able to find, oh, this is the low one. Like I will not able to detect what is written over there. It will not be clear to me. So something like that you can say, it means like this, or I can show you. So there are some rules which we have to follow. So use of color or contrast, it's a violation of those rules. Sorry. So you come, these are the different criteria which your website should pass through to understand, okay, this all are there means it is accessible. So there are some high bugs, there will be some low bugs, that will be some medium bug, depending company to company. So if you come here, you can see, okay, what do you mean by failure, or what do you mean by like using CSS to change the presence of user interface component. Like if this is a link, if I can go somewhere where show this is just the link. Sorry, I can come here also. As you can see, this is a link, but if you hover it, you can see the underline. This means, okay, there is just not the color to differentiate between the text and the link button, because if I'm a low vision, I will consider this as a link. I will not know, oh, that this is a link, this is not a text. Like for me to understand, it will become very easier if I know, oh, this is a link, and I will come to know when I'm going through this website. And there are different kind of rules which you have to follow depending upon company to company. It's vary, and company to company depend, okay, what are the criteria and what all they follow. Like my company, they follow all these rules, and we pass them and see if it's passing or if not passing. If it's not passing, then we have to create bug, and they can't release that website or that app until it has been resolved if it is a high bug. So this was a very low contrast bug, and I feel those people will be still working on that. If there are missing label, like this is a PDF, but it is missing the label. Like when I'm using a voice over a screen reader, person will not know, oh, this was a PDF button, because it have no label on it. So these are different kind of details, as you can see. So as you can see, there is no error. There are 9 alerts which are like, okay, if you don't solve, but it's still passing all my criteria. But if I go to Vinisco, you can see there are 4 errors. Like there will be an empty button. It shouldn't be there, because that if I am a person who is a screen reader, I will not know why this button is for. Like if I'm the normal screen, like normal person who can see, and I will know, okay, there is nothing over there. But if I just use a keyboard, like tap 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 and come there, oh, I will see, okay, there's just a button, but I don't know why it is there. And there are many color contrasts also issue, like this check, this will not be passing the, because it's red and that's black, it should pass, but it might be using some different criteria, so that's not passing over there. I can show you, like this is a foreground color, I can just change it to yellow, this yellow, and this is a, no, sorry, this will be white, and this will be yellow. Sorry. If it is red, it will be passing because it's 5.99. It will pass because red and white are absolutely changing. Even if it's yellow, it should pass. No, it's not passing because the ratio is 1.6 is to 7. Because yellow is also light color and white is also light color. The person will not be able to, if he zoom, he will come to know, oh, this is something written. But if it is the whole website, that person will not come to know, oh, there is something written. But also over here there are something which we bold, which we don't bold, so you can just use a pen or something which, or inspect this and get the actual color and put in over there. Like I can just inspect it and put the actual color over in this background and check if it is passing my criteria or not. If I
So,
come to,
Angel, just let me. So, guys, so just to make you understand at the big picture, so digital accessibility is again to check it. We use something called screen readers. So there are something called screen readers. So this is for, like, let's say people who are blind, low vision, who cannot move. You know, there are many kinds of, you know, disabilities that you need to work on, right?
yeah,
So
sorry.
so one of the common things you will have to check is how it works on screen reader. So let me just show you how. Actually, just give me 1 second. So just to give you a feeling of how a website feels like with a reader. Okay. So a lot of people actually use reader. So let me just share my screen. If you have Mac, you can follow along. If you don't have the Mac, you then I don't know how you can do it on Windows.
I think even Windows have inbuilt screen reader. uh,
Inbuilt.
yeah.
So just to give you a feeling, I think Alpa, you wanted to say something. You have raised your hand. What is that?
Okay, hi, Sachin. This is Alpa, and this is my first time attending the session. So, is it an introductory session? Because I'm not getting anything, and I do not have any material which you have referred in your WhatsApp message.
Okay. Yes. Yes. So okay. Yeah. This is all you. This is a session that is actually for understand as much as you can, because there will be additional training for it. So you are QA folks. So this is just additional to help you out. There will be more training for you. So don't worry about it. Try to understand as much as you can.
Yeah, because everything is going like I'm not able to get anything out of this thing. So,
Because
that's
yeah, don't worry about it. Just try to understand as much as you can. Okay. Fine.
okay. Thank you.
So okay, so guys, I was saying screen reader. So how does a website feel to screen reader? So I'm gonna go here to my system preferences. I'm gonna turn the accessibility. So, and as soon as I turn enable voiceover, so that's how a lot of people actually serve the website. Okay, and this is what I mean. And they should understand your website even with voice. So this is what we're talking about. For example, let me turn this on, it's going to be a little irritating, but you can also turn it on your own computer. Every computer comes with this. So let's try this out. So
Welcome to OS 10. VoiceOver is on. System preferences, accessibility, window, Chrome, Wave evaluation tool, Chrome Web Store, unselected. Chrome has new home, link, extensions, link, Wave evaluation tool, offered by WebAIM, accessibility, category, accessibility, link, 300,000 plus users, Chrome has new window, WINISEO, Winisco, front end bootcamp attendee, go to next page, Chrome has new window.
Sorry, Sachin, you can tap
Login
to
bootcamp
go
at
down.
Zoom.us, system
Yeah.
dialog, spotlight, teach accessibility, system preferences icon image, Chrome, Apple, menu, 9, closing menu.
Okay. So you saw that, right? So that is how a voice, so a screen reader, when you test, this is how it sounds. And this is how a blind person actually serve the website. So you have to make your website accessible to person who's using that voice. So that is what we're talking about. I just wanted to give you a context of what we're talking about, right? So yeah, Kinjal, you can go ahead. I think we can move on from contrast. I think that is enough with the contrast. Can you move on to the next?
Sure. So one was contrast, the another one was decorative image. As I told you, this is a decorative image. Screen reader shouldn't know what's the decorative, like what's it's telling, or it's not an important about it. I can just reload this. So,
May I ask you one question about contrast? If you,
sure.
in contrast, you shown one thing that color contrast should be 1:. You said when
No,
it is 1:5,
it's 4.5 is to
it
1.
is and 1:1.7. Yeah, so just I'm wondering what exactly we are expecting. Is there any benchmark
Yeah,
above that it would be passing and below that it won't be?
yeah.
So
So
what is
yeah,
that
that's
exactly?
the thing, the contrast and color requirement. So it is 4.1 is
Mm-hmm.
to 1 uh, to pass, and for the text. So
Mm-hmm.
so what that is a minimum that your website should have. Sorry, yes, I will show you.
Okay.
As you can see here also, and for this 4.1 is to expected, and if it is like, this is a main which my company follow, that 4.1 is to 1 your color contrast should be like, as you can see over here example also, which are passing, which will not pass, and everything. So this is red and yellow. You can see like text with almost exactly 4.5 is to 1 contrast. This will pass, but that's on the borderline. Usually people expect it is more than 4.5 is to 1.
Okay.
And for like, this is for mainly for the text, like what you written on the website, like this kind of stuff. And this is a decorative image, as I was explaining. It should be hidden from the screen reader user. These are the links. It should also be accessible using tab. So this is where I'm above. So I'm not using any mouse. As you can see, I'm thrown it away. I will just use the tab, and you can see, okay, I came to the nav bar. You can see I'm on Capital One, I'm on credit card, I'm checking savings, like I'm doing all my navigation using tab. So tab will go and every links or the button. If I tab again, it should come to input, because it's also an input, what you are typing, password, sign in, remember, forget. These are the links which should be accessible using tab. But now if I come down, it should directly will come to explore travel rewards, because it's a button. It will miss all the stuff which you have written, like text. It's over here because it's blue, you can't see. And if I see, you can see right now, it's on this explore travel reward. And now if I click, it will directly go to this below links, like see So this is all when a screen reader user, he don't want to read all the text. He would just want to see what's important and what he can do. So this should be in the, so all the links and buttons should be in the tab order. So even if I come from check auto navigator to grow my own money by just using tab. And if I'm on this is a expanded state. So screen reader user should know. So when if you want, I can show using voiceover. Mhm. So it will expand when I click over here, it will expand that on clicking enter, it will like announce it is that it is expandable state and what all options are there. And you can choose one and it will automatically go and say so that I can protect my future. And when I click on tab, it will go to this tooltip, and then next it will go to see suggestion. Why it is coming to tooltip? Because even this is something information when you enter, it will tell us about that. So this were the little bit how can you do using manual testing also. In manual testing, things like color contrast, keyboard accessible, like every links and buttons are in tab order and everything you check. And screen reader accessible is like just as Sachin explained, you can use voiceover and all the information which is there on your page should be announced using voiceover. So yeah, this is like what is decorative image versus informative image. So this is like just like iPad. What a screen reader will know, oh, this is an iPad. It will be useless for him. But this is a Capital One logo. This will be useful to him. Oh, this is Capital One logo. Okay, this is conveying some information to him. This is also an like decorative image, because they are just two people who are sitting and watching laptop or something. That's not conveying any information. So that's the main difference between decorative and informative. Informative is the image which is conveying some kind of information to your user. So in that you put alt and you put what that image, sorry, what that information is getting conveyed, what you want to convey. Like in this I will try to convey this is Capital One logo, and in this I will try to not convey anything. As you can see, it's if I inspect, alt tag is 0 or alt value is null, image alt this. So this was the main difference I feel. And if I go down over here, tools, as we have already talked about different kind of tools you should have. And like even in Windows you can use NVDA. This is also a software which you can download it from the Chrome. Then in build you have for apps like in mobile also, and even on Mac you have voiceover, and for Android phone you have talkback. And these are other tools like Wave, which will give you direct result what is missing and what are not missing for auto testing. And these are the some commands I think over here, and different or more details about the tools which you want to read, you can go through this link. Like yeah, like more details about, you can read this because during interviews they might ask, okay, if you have used Wave, so how will you use, or what Wave does. Like you can download, like during my internship also I have used Wave and downloaded the report and tell the person like how can more I improve this. So this all can be downloaded. And then testing a website,
Angel, can you tell me a little bit about semantic HTML?
Sure, I will just tell that too. So semantic HTML is nothing but when you are typing and creating a website like this website. So if you are using image tag, that is a semantic HTML. If you are over here, this is a button. But if it is created using button tag, that is a semantic. This is a link which is created using a. So this is a semantic HTML. So even if I go over here, this is a button which is created using button tag. This is semantic HTML. You can, I know you guys know that we can create button or link, but just give in div, you can just remove this button, make it div, and put role equal to uh, role equal to button or role equal to HTML. It should take in that also. Like now I have created div, it should give me an error in div. Like that's the difference between semantic and normal HTML. So in that's the best way to create a website accessible using semantic HTML, just using normal tags which are there. So I think the code has been okay. Now if I change this to div, it should give an inspect, because this is the button, but I'm just making it as a, okay, sorry, it's in div only. As you can see, it's in a div, but this is just the text in div. So in general, there are only difference between, sorry, there is only difference between the semantic HTML and the basic HTML is that in semantic HTML, you use an inbuilt tag, like for button, image, and uh, uh, link and everything. And that's the best way to make it accessible, because you don't have to mention it different way. And in semantic HTML also, you have different this section. Okay, this is a header, this is nav, this is section, this is article, side and footer. So in my interview, they asked me like how you can make a, like if you are learning accessibility, what is the main part you will learn? So I just told them semantic HTML. So as you can see, you can use div id equal to nav, div class is equal to header also. Or you can use these terms to make it more semantic, so that when a screen reader is reading, it will know automatically, okay, which part of section he is on. Like he's in nav, he's header, he's in footer. So yeah. Anything else, Sachin?
Yeah. No, yeah. So yeah. So semantic again, the images.
And in
So-
this, yeah.
HTML is pretty important as such. And some of you are not familiar with HTML, and that's fine. But who is familiar with HTML, your website needs to know your website as a. If I go to any website, right? You know, and I know that this is a navigation bar, right? You know that it's a navigation bar, and then you can actually navigate using this bar, but the machine doesn't know that. So for the computer to know that this is a navigation bar, you have to put a tag inside called nav tag, which means that you're making the computer, so humans can read it, but computers cannot. So humans can differentiate, because we have used this website so many times. We know that this is a, this is a header, this is a header, this is a footer. So there's a header, there's a footer. So we know that there's a header, footer, but machines don't. So semantic HTML is all about letting machines know. We're giving the clues, we're telling it, hey, this is navigation bar, this is, so putting the content in the right sections, right article, right, so that way we're making them, easier to comprehend for machines, which will make the screen readers, so, and everybody's life easy. So that's what called semantic HTML, using the right tags for the right place. That's all it is. Okay, because, and in HTML, you don't need to use this. You can use divs and everything will work fine. But semantic HTML is about, instead of using div, you should use the right tag. And then there's one last thing that is important about is area labels. Do you have any idea? Area labels in Kinjal, area, ARIA.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. So ARIA label is nothing but accessibility. Like for accessibility people, that's we use ARIA label. So as I was saying that informatic image or something like that should be in some kind of label. So that's the way we came to know, like, okay, there are different kinds of ARIA label also, and you can just it's like a normal label only, but you are telling that person like, okay, when the screen reader will come to this a part and he will know what's the meaning of this, instead of giving normal label. Like for different kind of page, as Sachin was explaining, we use semantic tag, but what where we don't have any semantic tag or something like that, we can use ARIA label there also. Or if there is a button and like this, we know, okay, this is a close button, we can see. And in general image also we can see, okay, close button is nothing but a cross sign. In pop-ups mainly you can see, you can use cross button to go back. But the person who is blind, who he will not know, okay, that is a close. He will when the screen reader will read, he will just read X. So for them it is like, instead of X it will be like close button. So that's the thing about ARIA label. There are ARIA role also. So if you come to ARIA role is nothing but, if you are using div tag, so you that person should know, okay, you can write button like that also. As he was saying, we can write using div also. So if you're writing with div, you can use role equal to button to assign like what that element is for. Like the attribute can be used by any typical HTML element. It is not limited to any ARIA role assigned. Like, okay, this is a button, but if I'm using div, I will not know, okay, this is a button. So what should I do instead of that? I can use role to tell that person, okay, this is a button, or this is a link, or different kind of, like, this is a table, or this is a form. So the main semantic HTML also can be used in div using role, like header, footer, main, nav. You write your normal code, but if you are missing, okay, if that person asks me, oh, how you will make it accessible, I will just tell him, I will write role equal to in interval, like interval commas, like header, footer, nav, whatever that section is. So yeah. So you ARIA label is generally label about that, what that element is. Role is also a important part, so you should know about role. And ARIA described by is just giving more information about that page. And you can like, okay, this is an image, but I want to describe more about that, so I can use describe by and write whole 2-3 lines of sentence. So yeah, these are different kinds of ARIA. But in interview they generally ask you basic details about ARIA label, ARIA described by. Yep.
Guys, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have any, Kinjal, are you done with your presentation or?
Yeah, I have done. And there are different, like, they can just go through different kind of ARIA labels, but mainly they ask the basic one. So yeah, and I think this is the main website. You can just come over here and read about ARIA roles, different criterias, and everything over here. So yeah.
Anybody has any questions before we start to wind down? You don't have any questions, that means that you understood everything, which is highly unlikely. But so for QA guys, you need some understanding of HTML to understand this accessibility. So it's fine if you don't get it as much, but if nobody has any question, we'll close it down. One last chance. Any questions? You can ask anything. It doesn't matter.
For me, it is really difficult to get all these things. Maybe my level is not up to the mark because recently I started, you send some links for HTML. So I recently started learning HTMLs by watching that YouTube videos. So maybe in future, in the next classes, I'll start getting better than this one.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
Okay, guys, that's it for now. Thank you, Kinjal. Thanks for taking time to, tell about your experience here. And thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Kenji.
All right.